Women's college basketball. If you've been living under a rock, and that's okay. That's okay. And I'm not going to come out here and sit here and try to be the person that's saying that I am captain women's basketball. I am a sports fan. I dabble in all sports. Basketball is my first love. You guys know that already. I do watch women's basketball, both WNBA and college. I can boldly say and confidently say that this has been the year of women's college basketball. It is dominated in ratings. It is dominated in viewership. It is dominated in conversation over the men's. And last night, we got another showing. And it's hard when you start talking about, key matchups, when you start talking about games that matter and you want to see players and schools, and sometimes those games don't live up to the hype. Sometimes those players don't live up to the hype. And we've all been a part of it. We've seen games that have this monumental buildup and are duds. And last night, I think as a family, as a societal family, as a sports family, when the matchup came out, the NCAA, the people who make the brackets and who put teams where and what and when, and the networks and the sponsorships, whatever God that they believed in, whatever God that they prayed to, whatever God that they pay homage to, whoever that is, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, if you were an atheist, it didn't matter. Whatever you prayed to, we got our sports prayers answered last night. We got a chance to see Iowa and Caitlin Clark and what she is and what she's done. We got a chance to see LSU and Angel Reese and Flage and Kim Mulkey and all that they bring. We got to see those guys. And of course, this dates back to last year. This dates back to the Caitlin Clark, you can't see me. It goes back to the ring me from Angel Reese and the crown. And it had fanfare. It had excitement. It had storyline. It had white versus black. It had Iowa versus LSU. It had Twitter divided. It was everything that you want a sports moment to be. And it lived up to the hype. And I was so excited for the game, for the women's game, that there was, because these are the type of things that can make or break a sport. When there is a matchup that is billed, that had top billing, and you get to that and it doesn't show, you won't get hype for the next time around. And I think this gave us that. It was the buildup. We saw the trains coming. We saw how the brackets were broken down, and they said, this is going to be it. This is going to be what we want. And boy, did we get a show last night. Caitlin Clark, 41 points in a dominating game. And you know what makes it great? What makes it great is to be able to watch it as a community. That's one of the plus about social media is when we decide that we're going to watch an event or there's an event happening and this is a family thing. It's a white, black, purple, yellow, orange, Republican. It's a family thing. And we watch this game, and I always know here's how you know when something is successful, is when the jokes start to happen. When the jokes start to fly and the memes start to come, that's when you know that this is an event that everybody's watching. And it was truly an event that if you looked at anyone's timeline last night from about 6:30 Central Time till about 8:30 Central Time, 9 o'clock, it was all LSU, Iowa, LSU. It was Caitlin Clark. It was Haley Van Lith. It was Angel Reese. It was everything. And we watched it as a community, and we got what we wanted. We got a game that was built with excitement, and Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the two headlining stars of that, showed up. They played well. We had Angel Reese go out with the ankle injury. The one thing I would say is Iowa won the contest, and they'll move on to the Final Four. But I thought LSU had the better team. I thought LSU hands down had the better team. I thought Iowa hands down had the better player. And that's the one thing when you talk about team versus player. In the team sport, basketball is the one place where if a guy or girl gets hot, it doesn't matter if your team is better. They can take over a game, and they can make shot after shot after shot. And I think that's what Caitlin Clark did last night. I thought Kim Mulkey's defensive strategy was she got put in a blender. For whatever reason, she thought, and her staff, they thought that, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to put Haley Van Lith on the best women's scorer that we have in basketball today. And boy, did Haley get cooked. Caitlin, there's a quote that was flying around last night, and it was funny. It's a true quote. It's from Larry Bird, and Larry Bird he talked about in his playing days. He said, I don't really care who guards me, black, white, purple, green, whatever. He goes, but just don't put a white guy on me. He said, you put a white guy on me, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful to my game. And that's from Larry Bird. Larry Bird talked like that. He said, don't put no white guy. Can't no white guy stay in front of me. You had to put a brother, a Martian, an alien. Don't put the white guy on me. Don't put the white guy on me. And that was a theme last night. It was like, you could guard anybody. You could have anybody guard Caitlin Clark. Don't have the white girl guard Caitlin Clark. And Haley Van Lith got cooked. And the meme is going around, Caitlin Clark hit a three, and Haley Van Lith's just like, I don't know, man. I don't. That's me looking at silent coach. What you want me to do? I thought that defensive strategy was one that wasn't good. And then you let another player, you let two more. And if you're going to let Caitlin get 40, then you can't let the others get 15, 16, 17 plus. And they had two players that had 16 plus points on Iowa. So if you can't have the girls get, I think it was 23 and 16 or something like that, and Caitlin get 40. You just can't have that. You can't have that. But what a matchup. What a matchup. And it just goes to show that women's basketball has really taken a turn for the better. And Angel Reese, she has 48 hours to decide whether she's going to go pro or not. I'm assuming Caitlin Clark, the same thing. I mean, they're all going to probably go pro. They're probably going to make more money if they stayed in college with all the NIL deals and the partnerships. But I'm sure they have some deals and partnerships that will travel with them to the WNBA. But they're making money hand over fist in college. I mean, Ice Cube even offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in the Big Three. That's a story for another day. But I get the businessman part of that. I would have all my games in Iowa. It would be a sold out. I would play Iowa 7 times. I would play in Iowa 7 times or around Iowa 7 times, and I know that I will get a sold out crowd every single time. But boy, what a game! And I have to admit, because that wasn't the only game of the night. The other game of the night was UConn and Paige Beckers versus USC and Juju Watkins. And if I'm being totally honest with you guys, the first game had so much build-up. The pace was fast. I was into it. I was tired by the second game. I don't know if I gave the second game its just due. I don't know if I gave Juju Watkins, and Juju is building. Juju broke the record of having the most points by a freshman. Paige Becker, who's been one of the best players in the country, she's been in 6th grade. She's dealt with injury. She sat out all last year. And so now she's kind of getting her footing back, and she's putting her name back in that conversation. And if you're a fan of the sport, you know that Paige Beckers is a dog. You know that she could straight up hoop. And Juju Watkins is another one who was on the. I also had a question. This is completely sidebar. Is there any pictures out there of Juju when she doesn't have her hair up in that top bun? I don't think I've ever seen her hair like not up in that top bun. Not that I'm looking for, but I'm just like, she has that bun in every commercial and every picture and everything and every game. I'm like, she'll never switch it up. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know if I didn't give that second game enough energy. I was tired. I made a joke last night. I said all my progesterone was, if you're a woman, you know what progesterone is. It was all out. I was all out for that second game. But man, kudos to women's basketball. I do have to give another shout out because when we start talking about the game, that was built up well. But the commentary, like the pregame, Elle Duncan, Andrea Carter, and Chini Abumake, my God, they were fantastic. They were insightful. They were energetic. They had great chemistry. It was hands down great from start to finish. I watched the highlights of the USC UConn game, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic night for women's college basketball, for women's basketball in general. And the stars showed up. The stars showed out. The commentary was great. Everything about it was fantastic. And we get a chance to see more of Caitlin Clark. In the next round, we get to see the South Carolina women and Dawn Staley. We get to see Paige Becker. There was a run for UConn where they went to the Final Four like 9 years in a row. And, Gino R.M. is doing a great job, and he doesn't get the credit he gets, right now. Half of his team is hurt. Like, half of his team is absolutely in street clothes. But they got Paige Beckers. And if you got one dog on your team, sometimes that's enough. And they find themselves in the Final Four. And another